Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's SCR webinar on the Earnest app. Before we get started, I'd like to give a shout out to the Member Services Committee and Chair Brad Allen for making this webinar happen today. Recording of this webinar will be available on the SCR YouTube channel. That channel's URL is youtube.com/screaltors. And while you're there, please consider subscribing so that you can stay up to date whenever we post new videos on there. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce George Clements. George is the co-founder of Earnest and is a South Carolina real estate agent with over 16 years of experience in residential real estate and real estate development. George co-founded Earnest in 2017 and it's based out of Greenville, South Carolina. Thanks for joining us today, George, and now I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be with y'all today and show you how to use Earnest. And we are a South Carolina company, and so we are proud to be based in Greenville. And so it's special when we can give webinars and demos for South Carolina real estate agents. And anyways, I'll get right into it. And I'd like to show you 3 simple ways you can use Earnest. But I will start with showing the website here. Our website is Earnnest.com, Earnest with 2 N's. And the website has pretty much everything you could need as far as like frequently asked questions, resources, videos, how-to videos. You can quickly register your account there under the agent tab. It's all there for you. I'm going to start with zip forms that you all have access to. Then I will show you real quick how our app works in the from the app stores, and then also with .loop. So first with zip forms, here's just a basic transaction. I put in some details of a listing that's here in Greenville, and put in a buyer's name and information. And once you've got the basics in there, you can see right there, there's a little tab that says Marketplace. And you'll see these different marketplace companies that are in the zip form marketplace. And right here, you'll see Earnest. And you have 2 options there: invite the escrow holder or request EMD. And if your escrow holder is already in, you don't have to worry about that. But if you click on that request EMD, and I don't know if it's shared because it's a pop-up. Let me share the pop-up there. Give me just a second. It pops up this little screen that shows the payment, and it gives the details. I just made up a buyer here. It throws all the information in there. If you put what the earnest money amount was in the transaction and the buyer's information, it's going to already have the address, and then you just select your escrow holder. So you would type in, whoever. I'll type in an attorney here in Greenville. Let's see. So say it's Nelson Galbraith that's holding. You just put them there, and then you confirm that they are the escrow holder on the contract, and click request. Now I'm going to go back to my other screen. And I will show you, once you hit request, and let's see, let's go back to the summary. The buyer receives an email that looks like this. And it gives the details of the request. It gives our support email, support number. And if they click pay Earnest money, sorry, I have to keep switching screens here. Then they are going to go to this page where they can continue. And they're going to get a code to their email. So I have to pull up the code here. Give me just a second. Okay, so the code this buyer received is 093865, and that's just a multi-factor authentication to make sure that that buyer is connected to that email. And here they confirm who they are, and create an account. So I'm going to use this made up buyer, put in a phone number, click create. And then the next step is that they see the property address, the escrow holder. I just put, this is a demo environment, so we just put demo title company is the escrow holder, the earnest money amount, and they confirm that this is correct. And then here they'll see that there's a processing fee. One of the great things about Earnest is that it's free for the brokerage, it's free for the agent, it's free for your escrow holder. Some of y'all might hold at your brokerage earnest money, and some of you hold at the closing attorney's office. Whoever is holding that earnest money, it's free for them. There's just a processing fee for the buyer of $15. So the next step is that they confirm their identity. So some of this is already going to be pre-filled, their name, email, and phone number. They have to confirm the last 4 of their social and their date of birth, and then their street address. So, I'm sorry. And click I understand, and click submit. And so they've confirmed their identity. The last step is for them, Plaid and Dwala are our payment processors. And so it's very similar to some of the other payment apps that they're familiar with and used. And they are creating an account. And this might feel very familiar to them if they've used other fintech payment apps. So what they'll do is they'll select which bank they use. We give the largest banks here first, but they can search. We work with 12,000 banks nationwide that they can search from here. Let's say this one works with TD Bank, and this is all encrypted, but they will put their username just like they would in like a Venmo or PayPal or something. Their password, click submit. And once they've logged into their account, sorry, it takes just a second, they'll choose which account they'd like it to come out of, and hopefully they've got more than $100 or $200 in their account if they're buying a house. But this is just a demo environment. So they'll click checking, click continue, and then the last step is to just review and pay. They've confirmed their identity, they've chosen the bank account they'd like it to come out of, and they click review and pay, and then they click pay earnest money. And that's it. They are done. Congratulations. I'm going to go back to this other screen. And once they've done that, then everyone involved in the transaction is going to receive this receipt of earnest money. And so it's going to give who the buyer was, what the property was, the earnest money amount, and then you can use this as the receipt of earnest money. I'll give you real quick 2 other ways you can use us. One is through our native app, through the app stores, through the Apple App Store, or through whatever app store you're using. And once you've downloaded that on your phone, here you'll see this is just a real quick run through, very similar flow, but our native app is really slick. You just put in the address, you put in you select the escrow holder, and put in the payer's information and just slide, and it'll request the money to the buyer. One last place I'll show you. We've got others as well, but .loop is one that I know a lot of agents use, and you can see right there at the top of the loop, it'll say send earnest request. you just click on that, and it's basically the same flow as these others. So again, it's, you can find us in zip forms, you can find us in the App Store, or you can find us in .loop, whatever is most convenient for you to use us. Any questions out there?
We do have one, George.
Yeah.
It looks like Devin asked, what if they bank with a smaller credit union or a
Yep.
bank that is not listed in the financial institutions option? Do they have the ability to manually enter their account routing and account number?
Yes, if their bank is not in our system yet, we've got a way to still use them, and it'll guide them through that process. And it's super simple to do that. And then what's great is once that bank is added in, it never has to be added in again. And so there's an easy process to work through that. And we've got, if the buyer has any trouble or any questions at all, our support team is super great. They can use that chat box, or the phone, or by email, either one. And one quick thing, I'd recommend, if your escrow holder is not in our system, we've got a very powerful, large network of escrow holders nationwide. And we work with some of the largest brokerages and title companies in the country. And but if you're used to holding at your brokerage or at an attorney's office, and they're not part of our network yet, at this invite escrow holder, you can click on that, and it's super simple to invite your attorney that's closing the transaction, or your brokerage. You just put in their information here and who is sending the invitation, and that's pretty much it. Any other questions?
I don't see any right now.
Great. Well, it's pretty simple, and it was short and sweet. Oh, go ahead.
We do have someone's asking, what is the cost?
Sure. It is $15 for a transfer, and it is one of the best parts about it, though, is that it's free for the agent. It's free for the brokerage or the attorney's office, whoever the escrow holder is. We only cover our costs by that transaction fee paid by the buyer. And so it's a great, agents and brokerages and attorneys are always like, well, this is awesome. The buyer is getting that benefit of that convenience. They don't have to come meet the agent with a check. I remember the last check I took was, I met the buyer in a Publix or something parking lot, and she had driven 45 minutes and hands me this soggy earnest money check, in the rain. And anyways, no meeting the buyer or them having to drive to the attorney's office or any of that stuff. It's definitely a great value for the buyer, especially with check fraud on the rise. When we attended the National Association of Realtors convention, one of the last in-person conventions we were able to go to back in November. And in one of the big sessions, they put a copy of a check up on the screen there in San Francisco and said, please, everyone, stop using checks. There's so much personal data on there, like your routing number, your account number, your signature, and check fraud is becoming such a problem. There are actually agents in South Carolina whose email accounts have been hacked, and where the hacker has made, like 5 or 6 copies of that earnest money check and cashed it multiple times. So check fraud is a problem, and we all know the problem with wire fraud. So
Okay, we got a couple more questions. Is there an app for this, or is it just the website?
yes, if you go to the App Store, there and search Earnest, and you can go to the Google Play or the Apple App Store and search for Earnest with 2 N's, and you can download it from there. And there are a few screenshots of our app, but it's the mobile app is awesome. It is great. It is a really nice app.
Does Earnest allow the lawyer to return the money if a deal fails to close?
Not yet. That is coming soon though. And we have, what's great is we have a whole lot of payment types that are coming. That is a great example of one, returning earnest money to whichever party is set to receive it. Agent commissions, you know, cash to close, all kinds of payment types that are on the way.
Okay, I don't see any more questions right now.
Great. Well, it is super simple. Again, go to earnest.com, Earnest with 2 N's, and you can register your account right there. Or if you go to the App Store and download our app, or again, like I said, you can find us in zip forms, find us in .loop. But if you go to earnest.com and click on that agent tab right there, there's a tab to register and all the resources you need right there on the website. So
we did have one final question come in here.
sure.
Can foreign banks send money? What if the foreign account is in another currency?
That is a good question. That is beyond my knowledge. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the answer is no. I think they have to bank with a bank that's that does business in the United States.
All right. Are there any other questions? Charlie says, short and to the point, and thanks.
Yeah, I'm sorry it's short, but it's easy. There's not much to it. It's pretty easy to do, and hopefully it'll save our agents a lot of time.
Okay, well, I think that's it.
Great. Well, thank you all so much, and I hope you all get out there and sell a lot of houses.
All right. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. And just a reminder, a recording of this will be posted on youtube.com/screaltors. Thanks and have a great day.
Great. Thank you.